And good morning. Already Christmas Eve. Isn't it the most wonderful time of year? I think so. And don't remember and don't forget what this is all about. About a little guy named Jesus is what this whole occasion is about. Remember that. It's important to know that. There'll be a lot of services this afternoon. Make sure to go one as we remember this. However you pray, whatever you do, keep in mind what the season is all about. It is bright and early, 51 now, but don't worry, we're going to be in shorts later today as we get to a high of 77 on Christmas Eve. Rudolph will have a pleasant time landing. He won't be cold at all as he makes his way to our area in Mississippi, Alabama. Y'all going to be just as warm, too, now. It's going to be a lot of fun. As we get ready for this day, we'll be right back to tell you all about what's been going on. We've got to get our message of the day. Let's go out to Collinsville First Baptist Church before we do anything and get that going. We'll be right back.
Hey, Merry Christmas Eve. Now, I know you have all sorts of plans today with family, but I want to invite you and your whole family, even the ones who came out of town, to come celebrate Christ with us at our Christmas Eve service today at 4 p.m. at Collinsville First Baptist Church. We've planned for under an hour. We're going to sing traditional carols. There'll be a children's story, a message to help you keep Christ at the center of your celebration. And so I hope to see you today at 4 p.m. But for now, we wrap up our Advent season with our focus on love. Now, when it came to Christmas, love didn't send a card. Love didn't send an ambassador. Love came in person. You know, Caesar Augustus, he thought he was ordering a census, but he didn't realize he was positioning players for the greatest arrival in history. While an empire flexed its muscles, heaven was ready to move. Then in an unremarkable town, during an inconvenient journey, love arrived, wrapped in human flesh, weighing maybe 7 pounds, 6 ounces. No room in the inn, no sterile hospital, no comfort, just a feeding trough in a barn, surrounded by the smell of animals and the sound of Mary's exhaustion. This is how God chose to enter the world, not in powerful corridors, but in impoverished corners. Why? Because love must be near to be known. You see, abstract affection changes nothing. But love with skin on, love that hungers, cries, and needs, that kind of love can be touched, trusted, followed. So the baby in the manger is the answer to every person who's ever wondered, does God really care? Yes, He cares enough to come, to leave heaven's throne for earth's stable, to trade glory for vulnerability. Love didn't remain distant or theoretical. It arrived. Love moved into the neighborhood. And nothing has been the same since. Merry Christmas Eve. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. And as we had said earlier, make sure to tune in this morning at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a great show. Greg's coming in, and we hear Santa may drop by with a little helper. Our favorite girl, Julia, we understand, is vacationing somewhere. We haven't heard from her this week. Okay, maybe a wee bit. We do hope wherever you are, you're able to see the folks that you love and care about. If nothing else, get a phone call into them. I think my boy is supposed to come in today. I thought he might be here this morning. When I got up, I noticed his car wasn't here, so he hadn't made it in yet for Christmas. So Dylan Ray should make it home today sometime. As we begin our broadcast, now I can remember when this first come out, it was opposite from my lifestyle, but I understand it was big, and I don't know what the first one was. What was the song? I Love My MTV. Do y'all remember that? I love my... Well, MTV at the end of this year, at the stroke of midnight, will cease all video playing. It's done forever. After 44 years, the video portion of songs is gone. And I can only assume that is because of YouTube and whatnot has kind of taken the place of that. What happens to the MTV Music Video Award? I guess that ends? CMT, I think, quit a long time ago. Did we care? Because they weren't country anymore. But times are changing. But MTV closing that after 44 years. They used to call them, what was it, VJs? I think that's what they called them. I think. Video disc jockeys. It was a little different there, but it was big back in the day. But that has come to an end as technology changes and people get their music different ways now. There's going to be some upset people come January 1 or toward the end of the month. And if you'll remember, Biden was signing checks left and right, and it wasn't fair in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, college is high, but it's a choice that you make to go to college. If you so choose to go to college, then it's your responsibility to pay for what you chose to do. There's a lot of controversy on this. I personally know people who went to college who borrowed extra money to drink and party on. That happens. And then that is put in to their student loan. Then they couldn't pay them back. Then Biden began to write it off. Well, guess what? Free ride's over. Come January, the Trump administration, if you aren't paying your bills, they will start seizing it out of your paycheck. You will pay back your student loans. That day is coming. If you didn't know that, write it down. Check your checkbook. That day is coming. Pretty strong. It is not up to the rest of America to pay for your bills that you choose to do. There's many a person that could not afford to go to college that began a career, started their own business, and went out and, well, gave to society. Am I wrong? That's my feelings on it. Now, again, I didn't finish college, but what little bit of college I did do, I paid for myself until working the 2 jobs outdid me. And I ended up in radio. It's been a while there. This is the type stories that agitates me, and it goes back to the judicial system of, well, just a judge not doing what they should. We go to Seattle. That's located in Washington. As far to the northwest as you can go in the U.S. of A. 75-year-old woman was attacked by a man that had been to jail 8 times this year alone. What did he do? He put a screw in the end of a board and hit her. She's now blind in her right eye, all because a judge didn't do what he should. As Earl Pitts would say, that just, you know what makes me sick? Y'all know where I'm going with that. It bothers me that America allows these things. There's little we can do from Mississippi, but make sure whoever you elect in whatever state you're in abides by the law and does the American way. Tonight, you've got a few hours left. I think up until 7 p.m. is when they cut it off and won't let you buy anymore. Another drawing. This time, $1.7 billion is on the line in the lottery. It's $3, $2, whatever you want to spend. You can spend up to as much as you want. Don't overdo it. It's a little fun to have a little dream that maybe you could win that. You could do a lot of good with it. There's some folks that can't handle cash. It doesn't matter the amount they've got. But there are good people that win occasionally that help others. $1.7 billion. My, it'd be like touring with Taylor Swift for a year. That's her yearly salary, I think. Here's something good that has happened. In Atlanta, Georgia, the tallest building they've got there, they, well, busted something. The police did. A guy was planning something similar to the World Trade Center type issue. He was sentenced to 2-term lives in prison yesterday, December 22nd. That was 2 days ago. He'll spend 2 terms of life. Now, I've had the explanation given to me, and I'd have to go back over it again and listen to it slowly as to why 2 life sentences are given. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense just off the cuff, but this, technically, one ought to do it. And there's another way to quickly end it to make sure that they wouldn't do that again. But so rarely is that done, and it takes 30 to 35 years to get that complete nowadays. You ever gotten a no real quick? You ever went to your mom and daddy and said, hey, I want $10 to go to town? And they said no. Well, that's what happened to the Catholic bishop's appeal. They wanted everybody at Christmas to, well, pause immigration and let anybody in. Trump said, bye. It was a short conversation, and, well, I agree with the president on that one. Who remembers the end of 2019 as we were going into that spring there when COVID hit? We were told a bunch of stuff. A bunch of it, as we now know, was not true. I remember people saying, I want some ivermectin. And they were going, no, that doesn't work. Well, studies are out. And I have to look at what this doctor says really happened with this. The results from it. There are 80 lawsuits that were done to force doctors to prescribe ivermectin. 40 of them won, 40 of them lost in court. Now here's the statistics that we get back from the 40 who got it and the 40 who didn't during that time. Of the 40 who won, who got the ivermectin, 38 lived out of the 40.
I took it.
You took it?
I took it.
38 out of the 40. 38 out of the 40 who didn't get it died. How y'all like those numbers? Now, I'm no medical scientist. I don't know anything about this, and I'm being as honest with you as I can. But boy, the more I hear about this miracle thing, the more I like it. I know those who take it daily now. It's supposed to even stop possibly cancer, I'm told. Do I know that? Have I been into a lab? Can I prove it? Nope. That's from the Scotty Ray hotline that I'm told, and, well, I'm tending to believe all of that. I've told y'all this over and over again. It starts slowly and it creeps in to where it becomes the norm one day. All the technology that is used in this world is great to catch criminals. But at some point in time, that technology will be turned against a Christian. It's barely hanging on to the number one religion in the US of A. There are people that want that to go away, and it's happened in, well, other countries. That as you go across to the pond, to England, where they had to cancel Christmas because of the Muslim riots. They couldn't have any Christmas scenes. They have technology that can pick up a face. Eventually, one day, they have tag readers out there. If you're a Christian, they will be able to track you that way. That is coming. It may not be in my lifetime, but it is coming. And I say all this as I go to Dallas, Texas. It starts small, and it gets bigger. 2 preachers were arrested for being on public property for doing nothing more than preaching the Word of God. They were arrested. Oh, do y'all remember in COVID, down in Louisiana, the preacher that was arrested for having his sermon? He ended up eventually winning, but he went to jail for giving the Word of God. It started then. There's more to come in this world. Watch your backs is all I'm saying with that. Oh, here's one for you. Over in Scotland, boy, they're really on this. They have banned cigarettes, but they have legalized smoking crack. Oh, yeah, that made a whole lot of sense there. Scotland is where that happened. The skirts are getting to them over there. Yesterday, in Pennsylvania, we had a nursing home, a fire breakout. It was catastrophic. 2 people are deceased. They're not exactly sure what happened. Possibly natural gas. It looked as though something like that. They're still investigating as to what happened. Immigrant truckers. You remember those people who actually couldn't read English and were just given their driver's license to drive trucks? We've had so many deaths over this. Well, they've all gotten together in California, and they're suing to get their driver's license back. 17,000 were notified by mail you no longer can drive. That would be because of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue forced that. I think the number's up to 19 now in California, but they're trying to sue the state over it. Hello?
Hey, bring them to court to fight their case and deport their butt.
Yeah, deport. Will it happen? Probably not.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. As I mentioned a moment ago, in these other countries like England where they're having issues, in Germany, a Syrian refuge is there. He's causing outrage in the country. Why? Well, he has 2 wives. He has 6 children. He lives in a free house, and he says he's looking for 2 more wives, and he wants to have 20 children. And he doesn't have a job. Oh, others are paying for his lifestyle. Look, even in Utah where they got 5 wives, they pay for it all, I think. Wait a minute, he was a bum, wasn't he, that guy on that show? And he got all the women to pay for everything. At least he was smarter than that guy. RW? The Casserole. We really need to start a show, The Casserole King in Lauderdale County. That's R.W. Williams. Oh, boy, this is shocking, folks, that just didn't get it. The U.S. economy has grown more than expected in the third quarter. Oh, yeah, it did happen there. We went from 3.8 growth to 4.3, and they said nothing was going to happen. The economy is getting better despite the news media telling you that it's not. Gas is starting to drop down. Egg prices are starting to go down. That's not perfect yet, but it is getting there. Let's keep our fingers crossed on all this. Have y'all seen this floating around, the Epstein letter? Well, it was fake. It was dropped in the file. They're trying to figure out who this was. And what the letter said, if you haven't heard of what I'm saying, when all this was dropped, this was slipped in there. It was a letter to Larry Nassar saying, "Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls." It's clearly fake and was sent from a wrong place and processed 3 days after he died. It was dropped in to try to make Trump look bad. Let's hope they catch whoever done that. J.D. Vance, he shared a post. I don't think I've ever seen a president do this, a vice president do this anyway. I said that wrong. He's been out training with the Navy SEALs. Have y'all seen this? Here's pictures of J.D. You go, boy. It's a lot of hard work to run with the Navy SEALs, and he's done just that. Let's see here. Taylor Swift, like her or not, she does a lot of good in this world. She may not have the same political views that we do, but I have to give her a boy this morning. She's donated $1 million to Feeding America, American Heart Association. We appreciate that. That's a good deed. I like when people do good things like that. They're calling him a hero, a Delaware trooper who was sitting at a desk. He was shot as someone come in. He is deceased now. God bless him. He was an act of evil as they start to investigate all of this. They've arrested a California farmer. He was a prominent farmer, going through a divorce, been trying to get a divorce for the last 3 to 4 years. What happened? Him and his wife were fighting over money. She was at one of their Arizona homes, and after a visit there, she's deceased. He's been arrested in connection with her death. She was getting $5,000 a month. She demanded $30,000 a month for her lifestyle. Apparently, he didn't agree. Now, we're all innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The Supreme Court has rejected, this shocked me, has rejected his bid to deploy troops in Illinois. I don't know what that's about. They said they would revisit it if the need came up. Let's see here. We go to Florida. I'm sure they're all over this. Barnes & Noble, you've heard of the bookstore, haven't you? A 65-year-old woman was fatally stabbed while inside there reading a book. My, oh my. Some of this stuff will get your dandruff stirred up on a Christmas Eve. Let's see what else we've got this morning before we go to weather there. Former Senator Ben Sasse, he's been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Keep him in your thoughts this Christmas. He's 53, I think. Well, this stuff starts younger. It's no age for cancer, is it? It really, truly isn't there. Good morning, Diane. I see you're up. Miss Vivian joins us. Brian is up. And Miss Kathy, so good to see each and every one of you. We'll be right back with your weather forecast as we get this morning underway.
On a hot day chasing crime in Meridian, to make a man thirsty, there's no better way than an ice-cold Coca-Cola to quench your thirst.
Or an ice-cold Diet Coke if you prefer that flavor.
No matter where you're at, stop by a local store and support that store and Meridian Coca-Cola. They're supporting us every day.
The Scotty Ray Report studio is sponsored by Environment Masters, providing hassle-free heating and cooling, plumbing, and electrical services since 1950. We're looking at Greg's new shirt that he's got. He's going to be showing off here in a minute. Let's get into the forecast.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Welcome back. Let's look at those record highs and lows. 1964, we had a high of 78 today. Back in 1989, it was 6. It's so cold I can't remember it. as we look at what else is going on today. Here's the high for today, 77 in Meridian. Look at this as we go through Philadelphia. 1 degree, maybe 76 as we reach back up to Winston County and go through Louisville. We'll see 77, 78 at Columbus Air Force Base. As we go down the river, steady at 78 through Vicksburg down to Natchez, and well, right at 70 there at Gulfport. By tonight, as Rudolph heads out, he'll face 53 degrees in the Meridian area, maybe 55 there in Neshoba and Leake and Scott counties. As we go north, we'll see somewhere around 60 there at Tunica. Down the river, 57. Nice all the way to Gulfport. Perfect weather for Santa, isn't it? I think so. As we look across at Bama, 75 today in Demopolis, Tuscaloosa, and Birmingham. Basically 75 across the state, even over to Montgomery, Alabama. We see that. Now, keep in mind, this morning you can hardly see your hand in front of you. Fog is thick, thick, and more thick. We got a fog advisory through at least 10 a.m. this morning. And as you'll see, portions of Kemper County has this thick, 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 and even on up through Columbus. We'll take a look at live radar in just a moment to see that. Warmer weather out to our west. We see a little bit there in Nevada. Normal temperatures right now, if you call 77 normal. As we look at this high today, fog right now. 76 on Christmas Day with a high of 55. Perfect weather as we head into Friday and the weekend. 77 Saturday, no chances of rain. Slight chance of rain on Sunday, a 30% chance there. And by the beginning of the week, 45 come Monday. Now again, let's mark this. Today, Christmas Eve, 77, and by Monday, the high is 45. Tuesday, it will be 44. Let's go another weekend to this as we look at New Year's Eve. High of 53, low of 30 that night. We'll see on January the 1st. Perfect weather, though. No chances of rain, 56 with a low of 33. So it'll be a little nippy New Year's Eve night while you're out and about. You'll need a jacket, but nice weather. We'll stay in the 50s, right there below 60, all the way through January the 7th. Getting near Elvis's birthday then, aren't we? Thought so. Y'all keep up with that now. Should be a national holiday. Let's look at our fishing forecast this morning. Parker's Wholesale brings it in for us. A major time today is 2:46 this afternoon through 4:46, almost dark. You'll have another time this morning from 9 until 11 to go fishing. Not bad at all. Sunrise happens at 6:53. Let's get into you deer hunters out there who are up. It's an average day is what we see. The wind's going to be calm, becoming southwest around 5 miles an hour. Major times to fish today, 2:44 through 4:44. To hunt. Let me back up on that. And as we get into minor times this morning from about 9:40, let's call it from 10 until 11 o'clock. Good time to hunt. Sunrise, 6:53. Sunset will roll in at 4:54 this afternoon. Not bad at all to hunt. Try it out on Christmas Eve. Sometimes you get lucky. Just don't be late for supper. It's always a Christmas Eve meal going on. As we pull up radar, let's take a look, and this is some serious fog that we've got. The gold color is a little bit worse than the yellow, and then the red is the worst that you can get here when it comes to fog. As we go into Lauderdale County, this southwestern portion of Lauderdale County is thick. You cannot even see Clark or Jasper County at all. I-20 coming in somewhere about where the Welcome Center is. It's going to start, and by the time you reach the city limits of Meridian, it is thick. Western Kemper County picking up on this. Carthage, these areas around Philadelphia, even on up to Louisville. Look at this at Stark Vegas. You can barely see Bully the dog there at the stadium. It's thick. As we go south out of Meridian and we get into Wayne County, a lot in there, back over to Collins, Ellisville, Hattiesburg. Hard to see there on 59 as you're passing through it down to Purvis and Poplarville, all the way down to Pearl River and Slidell. You might not be able to see that big American flag flying this morning in there. This is going to carry you all the way over to Beaumont, Texas if you're traveling 10 there. Use caution. Even Houston this morning has a little bit. Lots of it down around New Orleans as well, over to Dothan, Alabama, Montgomery, Valdosta, Georgia even has a little bit. That's the outlook of what we've got on fog. Drive slow, and it wouldn't hurt if you've got somewhere to go to wait till 10 o'clock. Let this stuff burn off before you hit the highways and byways. Do you a lot of good there. Good morning, good morning, good morning there. Diane, I see you there. Welcome to you. St. Jude does a wonderful, wonderful thing for people. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We hear Santa's going to drop by after a while and visit with us. We'll get the show rolling in just a moment. Join us, won't you? It all begins at 7 for a Christmas Eve show.